Hello and welcome to the Space Between Ideas. I'm Blaine Gates. Today we are going to continue to claw back and back and back and back. Perhaps this could be the very first of all of the videos that I've ever made. And the question is, what should I do? What is the endeavor that I've been called to do? Like, what is the nature? Who am I? What should I be doing? When we look at the previous discussions, for example, if we look at the video from yesterday, then we can talk about potential. And when we talked about potential, we were talking about the way that people interact, the motivation that people have, and about the resources that people have access to. And that's the concept of potential. And we were talking about whether to thrive or just merely survive. One problem that some people have, and perhaps one of the problems that it's kind of a challenge for me too, I have some students that come and they want to talk to me, but it's mostly to prepare for a job interview. And when somebody has a job interview, it means that they don't necessarily have an endeavor right now. And when I'm trying to help them to understand these endeavor elements that were created by Dr. Buchholz, or when I'm trying to share with them some of the direct outcomes checklists, or when I'm trying to help them to see the endeavor forces, when we put these ideas together, it's always helpful if somebody has an endeavor, if they have a project, if they have something that they want to see done in the world. And I think about religion or politics, and these days you see so much political bashing and religious bashing and people telling other people why what you believe and what you're doing is wrong. And sometimes I feel overwhelmed because I don't have all of the knowledge that I need in order to go out and to proclaim some kind of message. And I think that it's overcomplicating issues. I think what's more important is that we find some issues that we believe strongly about and then go out with that message. And the opposition will come. And as the opposition comes, that's when we have the opportunity to strengthen ourselves and to strengthen our message. That's the same thing that happens in business. You see, the question comes where people are asking, should I develop my own product or should I sell somebody else's product? There's two different situations. If it's not your product and it's also not your company, then I'm not talking to you. You're an employee. So you have to do what your boss tells you to do. And you don't own the product. And so you don't have the ability to do what you want with that product. If we jump into drop shipping, then for me, it's a very simple concept, right? It's about market demand and margin. If you don't care what the product is and you're just developing marketing messages in order to create an audience, in order to sell a product, then just find the product that you can make the most money on. But I'm not in that camp. You see, when I look at this issue, my problem is that I know that a business is two things. It's product development and it's marketing messages. And I think that you have to become a marketing specialist. You have to become a marketing monster if you really want to be able to promote some product. Because I'm so passionate about my own products, I know that I can be patient enough to learn how to do the marketing. And that's key for me. If it's not my product, if I'm not passionate about the message, if it's not something that I truly believe in, then I'm not going to have the patience and I'm not going to have the energy long enough in order to survive and push some kind of message to the point where it's starting to catch on and to the point where I'm starting to learn how to enable it to catch on. You see, so when you're choosing an endeavor, it's better if you choose a product that you truly believe in, because after you finish all of this product development, there's still this huge hurdle of marketing that you haven't even started to bump up against yet. And it's such a big mountain that hopefully you are passionate about your product long enough to be able to understand how marketing works. Those people who they're still not really sure, like, okay, so what you're saying is I need to pick a passion project. If I just do drop shipping, then I'm not going to be patient enough with the product in order to promote it long enough to learn how to become a marketing expert. Then, okay, well, how do I pick a project? Well, I got 11 questions that you can ask yourself to figure out what are some potential products that you'd like to develop? Question number 1, what is a new activity that you'd like to try? And in this area, we need to talk about like, what's the difference between an activity and a hobby? What's the difference between an activity and a project? And so when we talk about activities, it's just like, what's something that you like to engage in? What is some process of effort and attention that you find enjoyable? It doesn't have to be as big as a project, and I guess it could be a hobby, something that you like doing, and start to identify elements of that thing. And is there anywhere around that thing that you could get involved in some kind of business endeavor? And number 2, now that you've written down the activities that you enjoy, see if there's some difference between the activities that you enjoy and the hobbies that you enjoy. Perhaps there's some difference in your mind between the word activity and hobby. Question number 2, what's a hobby that you enjoy? When I talk about a hobby, then I would say like, this goes back to that old idea of like, what would you do if you didn't have to worry about money and you didn't have to worry about time and you didn't have to worry about stress? If all you had to do was the thing which you really wanted to do, what would it be? And for me, like this, it's exactly what I'm doing right now. That's why I found the thing which I want to do, which brings up another story. There's this one girl, she told me that she's like, hey, do you think, she said, I heard that if you do the thing which you love, then you don't have to work a day in your life. I said, that's crazy. First of all, if you don't work a day in your life, then probably you don't own a house and you probably don't own a car. And if you don't own a house and you don't own a car and you're not really doing any work, then how are you going to attract attention enough to sell a product or service and build a family around you and be part of a community? So I think that's a very controversial question. Number 3, describe an idea that has come to your mind. Number 4, describe an improvement that you'd like to create. And that has to do with, do you see a lot of problems and challenges in the world? And how would you try to make the world a better place? Then another way to ask that is, what is a challenge that you'd like to face? Maybe describe something that's holding you back, or talk about things that you want to reach for. Describe a problem that you'd like to solve. Describe a need that you'd like to fill. Describe a result that you'd like to obtain. For example, maybe it's a level of performance that you'd like to reach, or perhaps it's a condition that you would like to make possible in your life. Describe a goal that you'd like to work toward. Describe some research that you'd like to engage in. Is there something that you want to know more about? Or is there something that you'd like to think more deeply about? And finally, describe a project that you'd like to become part of. I'll leave a link in the description below so that you can access all of those questions in a PDF format. You can print off the PDF or you can type right into the PDF. By answering these questions, you'll go a great distance in figuring out what it is that you want to do in this life.